with a review for you, and this is a bit of an interesting one for me because I am reviewing the first of the series of unfortunate events, so that's the bad beginning right here, and I had struggled for a while with how I wanted to approach this series of books on this channel because it's very near and dear to my heart, and I wanted to do it justice, and I wasn't sure whether I should do one great big video of the entire series, or whether I should break it up into individual books, or whether I should just do a short video and just salute it and say I love this series and condone everyone reading it, or something like that. So what I have decided to do is do a 13-part review where I go in depth about the plots of each of the books because they're very plot heavy, meaning a lot happens in the books and they rely a lot on their plot devices, and that's sort of the basis of the series, is stuff happens, as opposed to books where not a lot happens, maybe character development happens, stuff like that. So I wanted to deconstruct the plot quite a bit. So if you're not into that, turn off this video because I'm going to be talking about the plot and I will be spoiling it all. The entire series is going to be spoiled if you watch these videos. So just throwing that out there so you all know. And without further ado, I will get into the bad beginning. So it starts, and it's the story of 3 children, and it starts on the beach, and it's a horrible day, disgusting outside, very opposite to the day behind me that you can see. So imagine a musty, disgusting, gray day, and a figure walks up to you on the beach and tells you your parents have died in a terrible fire. That's the situation that the Baudelaire orphans find themselves in. So there's 3 of them. There's Violet, the eldest, who is always seen with her hair in a ribbon, I believe, and she's always inventing things. That's her trademark. And then there's Klaus, who is 12-ish, and his shtick is he likes to read. He loves reading. He's read probably about 1 million books. And then there's Sunny, the youngest Baudelaire, who is an infant, and at this point is not really a character. She sort of is more like a sack of potatoes that they have to cart around with them, and she doesn't really contribute a lot to the plot in this particular book, other than her being a burden on them. So in further books, she does develop as a character, so that's interesting to see, but at this point she's a very meh character. But Violet and Klaus are not meh characters. They're very, very personable, and you can really, my favorite thing about them is that you can easily predict what they will do in any given situation, and that is always that they will do the smartest thing possible that will get them out of the situation. That is bad, assuming it's a bad situation. Anyway, they're very predictable characters, and that makes them really easy to relate to and very easy to imagine in other scenarios. So that makes it easy for them to sort of interact with our world, as you can put yourself into their shoes really easily. You can say, oh yeah, Violet would do this in this situation, and Klaus would do this, and things like that. So I really enjoy that aspect of the series. That makes it really easy to interact with and really easy to, as a consumer, to read the books, because you get so invested in the world that these characters are in, and the characters themselves, of course. So the story is that of these 3 children, and they find out that their parents die in a terrible fire that destroyed their entire house, and they have to go and live with another relative, a distant relative named Count Olaf. There's of course a fortune involved, so the Baudelaire orphans are the inheritors of a large fortune, whereupon when Violet turns 21, she will inherit the fortune. And until that date, the fortune remains locked up, away, and inaccessible to the children. So Count Olaf, of course, is an evil person, a very evil man who is trying his best to make the Baudelaire orphans' lives miserable, and he also wants to steal their fortune. So that sets up the entire series of these 13 books of various concoctions and plots of Count Olaf that he creates to get his hands on the Baudelaire fortune. This is basically a power struggle between the Baudelaire orphans and Count Olaf, the entire series long. It becomes something larger than that in subsequent books, which I will obviously get into once those books arrive at my doorstep. But at this point, it's Baudelaire orphans versus Count Olaf. And Count Olaf creates this plan where he's going to marry Violet. So it's quite intense, actually. He pretends, he's an actor, so he pretends to put on a play that features Violet as a bride during a wedding ceremony, and it ends with a wedding or whatever. When in reality, it's actually a ploy, and he's actually in real life going to marry Violet Baudelaire to gain access to her fortune. So evil stuff, and Violet, like I said, I'm going to spoil it, so I'm just going to go ahead and tell you. Violet's character is she excels in this book. It's so amazing how she excels in this book, because she shows off her inventing skills when she creates a grappling hook to try and save her sister Sunny from the clutches of the hook-handed man, which is one of Count Olaf's minions or whatever. So she shows her talents there, and then in the end she shows her talents again and shines in the conclusion when she signs with her left hand. She signs the wedding deed with her left hand rather than her right hand. So because of that, it's not a valid document or whatever signed. She hasn't signed it, so she doesn't marry Count Olaf, and he doesn't get her fortune. So she outsmarts him in that way. So this is basically a Violet party, this book. You don't really get a feel for Klaus yet. You don't get a feel for Sunny yet. But in further books, especially The Wide Window for Klaus, and I remember distinctly The Slippery Slope being a good one for Sunny, or even The Erased Elevator, or is that what it's called? The sixth one? Sunny has to climb up an elevator with her teeth. So she excels in that in the later part of the series. So yeah, that's what happens in the book, and I think I've discussed pretty much everything I wanted to talk about how the world's really relatable and the characters are really predictable, and that makes it easy for them to, for you to put yourself into their shoes and see what they would do in different situations. So yeah, I think that's about it for my video today. Sorry it's a bit rambly and strange, but there you go. That's The Bad Beginning, and I will see you all next time. Bye, guys.